day, everyone. This is Richard again for another edition of Learning with Rich. So, for today's lesson, I'm going to teach you how to create floor framing in Revit 2017. So, in this exercise, I'm going to add floor framing by adding girders and beams in our structural model. Okay, so let's get started. So, first, I'm going to add steel girders. Okay, so to do that, so from the structure tab, I'm going to select here my beam tool. This is the beam tool. And then from the type selector, so I'm going to use 460 by 52, right? So W wide flange 460 by 52. So I select this one. Okay, and then after that, from my contextual tab, so I'm going to select, I'll just make sure that line here is selected. Okay, so it will be created on my first floor. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click, I'm going to teach you how to place it one by one first. So I'm going to click here my B1 intersection. So I click this, 1, and then I'm going to place it here, 2. Okay, right? Then after that, I'm going to add another girder between the grid intersections C1 and D1. So I'm going to click again the midpoint or the intersection of the grid C1, and then I'll be connecting that to my D1 grid. So click. So as you can see, you can create your beam one by one, right? Segment by segment. Now, if you want to create your beam continuously, okay, you can check here the options chain tool. So let's say I want to create my beam from D to G. So I'm going to check here the chain tool. All right, then I'm going to pick now the intersection here, 1. So I can pick it continuously. 2, you see, without terminating or without ending the creation of your beam. So I'm going to pick here also G1, right? Then after that, to finish up creating my beam without terminating the tool, I'm going to press once. Okay, so as you can see, I'm still on the beam tool. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use here the option. Okay, so there's an option here, multiple panel. There's an on grids. Okay, so I'm going to select here on grids. Okay, so I pick that one. So on grids, and then let's say I want to add beam here on my letter D grid. Okay, so I'm going to click my D grid. I click that. Okay, so there's a preview of my column. Oh, I mean of my beam. So after you pick the grid, so I just select here finish. There you go. All right, so it's very fast by using this option, grid option. So I'm going to select again my grids E, F, G. Okay, so I'm going to use again my on grids, and then I'm gonna pick the grids E, F. Okay, I'll just hold control to select these 3 grids. Okay, so again, you will notice there's a half-tone preview of my beam, and then after that I just select here finish. Okay, right. Okay, so next I'm going to click again on grids. So this time I'm going to select 3 and 4. So there is another way of selecting. You can use crossing selection, just like that. Okay, and then I'll select again finish. Okay. Okay, so beams on the grid lines between the columns now are displayed. So every time you select finish. Okay, then the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to use again my chain option, and then I'll use the line tool. Okay, I'm going to click the grid intersections G2, F2, E2, and D2 to draw 4 consecutive girders. Okay, so I pick this one, I pick here, this is the second girder. Okay, and then my C2 here. So I pick. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to press escape once again just to end the creation of my beam, but it will not terminate the tool totally. So I just press escape once. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do next, I'm going to unchain the option here using the line tool. So I'm going to create a beam on my intersection D3. So I pick here, and then I'm going to snap it here at the endpoint here, this one. Okay, so center line of this wall. So I pick, there you go. Okay, so I'm going to do that also here on my C1. Okay, so I pick my C1 here. Okay, and then I'm going to place it here again at the midpoint, or I mean the center line of this wall. So I place it. Okay, there you go. Again, I'm going to press once, escape once. Okay, so there's my beam tool still activated. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add beams between girders. Okay, between girders. So if I'm going to terminate the tool, and then if I select here my beam here, so you will notice the classification of that is girder. So if you're going to create your beam snapping to your column to column, so the classification of your beam is girder. Now, what I'm going to do next, okay, so I select again the beam tool. So I'm going to change here the type. So let's say I use the 310 by 38.7. Okay, so this time, I'm going to create my beam between my girders. Okay, let's say I'm going to snap here at the midpoint. If you're having a difficulty snapping at the midpoint here, so all you have to do is to move your pointer, and then you just need to press your tabs. I mean your tab, yeah, correct. So you will notice eventually it will snap to the midpoint every time you press your tab. Because you press tab, it will cycles the selection. Okay, so I'll snap at the midpoint, I pick. Okay, then after that, I'm going to move again my pointer somewhere here at the middle, and then I'll press again the tab until such time it snaps to the midpoint. There you go. So I'm going to pick. Alright, so same with this portion here. So I move my pointer somewhere at the middle, I press tab continuously, okay, until I can see the midpoint icon. I pick. Okay, so same here. Tab, 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 and then I click. Alright, and then I select here modify. So beams that run between columns are automatically classified as girders, right? This one, it's girder. Now, this beam that we just created is now classified as hoist. Okay, because it runs between girders. You see, if I pick this one, the classification there is hoist. Okay, so just to give you an idea. So this is our girder. Okay, so this is your hoist because it was created between your girder. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to create another beam here. Okay, so I select the beam tool. Again, using the same type. So I'll snap at the midpoint, midpoint, midpoint. Okay, and then I select here modify. And I want you to notice also that the settings of your line type here is different. So now, this beam that you created or that I created between my hoist is now classified as purlin. Okay, so we have three classifications. So we have girder, hoist, created between your girder, and then purlin, so created between your hoist. All right. Now, let's say I want to have this also here on the other side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mirror. Okay, so I'm going to mirror this. I select the three beams. Okay, and then I use the tool here, mirror peak axis. So I pick this one, and then I'll just pick the grid as my axis. Pick. There you go. And then I select modify. Okay, so there you have it. So that's how you add floor framing on your structural model. So let me just open this in the 3D view. So this is my 3D view. There you go. Okay, you can still finish up by placing your beams for the rest of the model. Okay, so this is now our floor framing. Okay, so I'm going back to my first floor. By the way, you can also modify, or I mean change the detail level of your view. So coarse, medium, fine. Okay, so you can change. So if it is fine, it looks like this. Okay, coarse, it's like this. Okay, 3D view. There you go. Right. Okay, so hopefully you learned something from this video. So why don't you just click the subscribe button there so that you will be notified every time I create a video. So if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, so you can just put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. You can also install QuipSpear and follow my blog, my website. It's all in the description of this video. So once again, this is Richard from Learning with Rich. And until then, take care.